Hello viewers, if you are new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button and share it with your friends. Also, click on the bell icon so that you get the latest information about the videos that are uploaded. Hello students, welcome back to the new video. In this video, we are going to start chapter number 4, Metals and Non-Metals. In the introductory session, we will see in general what are metals and non-metals. Students, before introducing the terms metals and non-metals, let us recall two other terms, mixture and compound. Do you remember what is a mixture, which you have learnt in the previous classes? Yes, mixture is a substance which is obtained by the physical combination of two or more materials or substances. When I said physical method, it means that we can separate out their constituents by any physical means, just like hand picking, sieving, filtration, etc. Do you remember any example? Yes, garden soil is an example of a mixture. The air around us is a mixture of different gases. Similarly, when we physically mix the sulfur with iron filings, it is also a mixture because we can separate out sulfur and iron filings by physical methods. Therefore, mixture is a substance which can be separated out or by any physical means and they are not combining chemically. Then what is a compound? Compound is a pure substance formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed ratio. Here I use the word element. What is an element then? Element is a substance which cannot be broken down into two or more simpler substances by chemical reactions is called an element. So, an element is a substance which cannot be broken down by any means of chemical reactions. Usually the chemical reactions are brought by applying heat, light or electricity. So, an element is a pure substance which cannot be broken down by applying heat, light or electricity to bring about any chemical reaction. For example, iron is an element because it cannot be broken down into two or more simpler substances by the usual methods of carrying out chemical reactions such as applying heat, light or electricity. So what we can say, an element is a pure substance which cannot be broken down into its simpler substances by any means of chemical reactions. The elements themselves are the simplest substances. That is why they cannot be broken down into any more simpler substances. So, when we say the word element, we can come to know that they are the simplest substances. Some of the common elements are hydrogen, helium, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus, silicon, chlorine, bromine, iodine, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, aluminium, iron, zinc, copper, silver, gold, mercury, etc. So these are the names of very common elements that we use in our day-to-day life, and you might have heard about many of these words again and again in our day-to-day life. Every element is represented by a symbol. A symbol is the short way to write an element. So, we have seen that there are many elements and it is not easy to represent every element by its name. Therefore, every element is represented by a symbol. A symbol is the short way to write an element. For example, the symbol of hydrogen is H, capital H, whereas the symbol of magnesium is Mg, where M is capital and G is written in the smaller form. The symbol of an element also represents one atom of that element. So when we say H represent hydrogen, it also means that it is or it represents one atom of the element hydrogen. Similarly, when we write Mg as the symbol of magnesium, it also represents one atom of the element magnesium. The smallest particle of an element is called an atom. A sample of an element contains only one kind of atoms. This gives us another definition of element, which can be written as an element is a substance which is made up of only one kind of atoms. So, what is the smallest particle of an element? An element contains the smallest particle called an atom. You are familiar with the term atom. Atom is the smallest particle of which any material is made up of. Therefore, a sample of an element contains only one kind of atoms. Therefore, based on this knowledge, we can define the element as the substance which is made up of only one kind of atoms. Previously, when I defined the term element, I told you that element is a pure substance, P-U-R-E, pure substance. It means that it is made up of only one kind of atom. There are as many type of atoms as are elements. So, different elements are made up of different kinds of atoms. Even though element contains only one kind of atom, different elements are made up of different kinds of atoms. For example, sulfur element is made up of only sulfur atoms, whereas iron element is made up of only iron atoms. What does it mean? Sulfur element is having only sulfur atoms. Therefore, the atoms of sulfur is different from the atoms of other elements. For example, iron. Therefore, we can say that sulfur element is made up of sulfur atoms, whereas iron element is made up of iron atoms. The atoms of an element remain unaffected by the physical changes in the element. Here, physical changes means the substances can exist in three states that you know. Okay. For example, if the atom of liquid sulfur or the vapor forms of sulfur would be exactly the same as that of the solid sulfur. It means that whether the sulfur is in the liquid state or in the vapor state or in the solid state, their atoms remain same. They are not affected by the physical changes in the element. Although there is an enormous variety of substances in the universe, the number of elements forming these substances is limited. There are only 92 naturally occurring elements known to us at present. Okay, so you know that there are so many enormous number of substances in the universe, in the world. But all these substances are made up of elements. And there are only 92 elements which are occurring naturally, and there are few elements which are made by men. So, total 114 elements are known to us. So, whatever substances it may be that is seen or that is occurring in the world, in the universe, are made up of these elements. Now, an important classification of elements is in terms of metals and non-metals. Now, we are coming to the point metals and non-metals. So, what are metals and non-metals? They are also elements, and one kind of classification of element is in terms of metals and non-metals. Now, let us understand what are metals and non-metals. On the basis of their properties, all the elements can be divided into two main groups, metals and non-metals. See, different elements have got different properties. So, based on their properties, the elements are broadly classified into two main groups. They are metals and non-metals. Iron, copper and aluminium are examples of metals, whereas carbon, oxygen and sulfur are examples of non-metals. See children, all these names are familiar to you. You might be using them or you are familiar with these terms. Iron, copper and aluminium. We can take them as the examples of metals. whereas carbon, oxygen, sulfur, these are the examples of non-metals. All the metals have similar properties. All the non-metals have also similar properties. But the properties of non-metals are opposite to those of metals. So, the classification of elements is done based on their properties. So, it shows that metals and non-metals have different types of properties. But all the metals have similar properties and all the non-metals also have similar properties. So, we can say that the properties of non-metals are opposite to those of metals. Both metals as well as non-metals are used in our daily life. We also use a large number of compounds of metals and non-metals. Now, why do we study about these metals and non-metals? Because we use this both metals and non-metals in our day-to-day life. And also we use a large number of compounds that are formed by the combination of metals and non-metals. Therefore, it is very important to study about these metals and non-metals. Now, let us understand the meaning of certain new terms related to metals and non-metals. First one, malleable. It means the materials which can be beaten with a hammer to form thin sheets without breaking. And so, what is malleable? Malleable means those materials which can be beaten with a hammer to form thin sheets without breaking, and this property is known as malleability. Second one, ductile. Ductile means the materials which can be stretched or drawn to form thin wires. So, the materials which can be drawn into form thin wires are known as ductile, and this property is known as ductility. Number 3, brittle. The materials which breaks into pieces on hammering or stretching are said to be brittle. So, what is meant by brittle? The materials which breaks easily are said to be brittle. Example, glass. Number 4, lustrous. The materials which are shiny are said to be lustrous. That means if a material appears to be shiny, then we can say that it is lustrous. So students, I hope you have understood the topics very well. But still, if you have any doubt, you can write in the comment section. I will surely try to solve it as early as possible. Here are some review questions. Please solve it in your notebook. Thank you.